say the least. Can you tell us about the experience of X Factor for you straight off?
Oh yeah, X Factor was it was an interesting time. I was only a baby, but I wanted to do something about it, and at the time going on telly and being put out into the spotlight quickly was the way to go, and it was an experience, and I loved it, and it gave me the stepping stone that I've got now to sort of start a career, and I've been doing it the last sort of 9 years, so it's been nothing but good for me.
You'd obviously done Brookside before that. How old were you when you were on X Factor?
17.
17,
wow.
So it was...
I auditioned when I got the audition process thing when I was 16.
Yeah.
And then it was just before I turned 17 that I went there.
Yeah.
And then obviously grew up through it, and then when I had the album deal and everything, I went to America to record and everything. I was like 19.
Yeah.
So, I was a baby.
You're not too old now, compared to me anyway.
No.
So it's Graham, James's dad.
Yes.
Whilst you were doing X Factor then, obviously the industry was fresh and new to you then. How did you find it? Did you find a lot of pressure as a performer at being in such a new environment?
Yeah, well, I had, being young in Brookside and stuff, I had that pressure anyway, so I was quite used to having a certain amount of pressure, but it was all the good stuff was great, going to America and recording and meeting all these amazing people and having an album and touring and stuff. It was all amazing, and then you can cope with all the good stuff. It's when it starts to sort of change, it worries you, and that's when the pressure kicks in and the nerves kick in, because you're wondering what's happening next,
Yeah, and I suppose X Factor was relatively new as a show, or had just gone into its sort of next level then. So I suppose the press were kind of just getting on top of it, and social media, I suppose, was just kind of starting then as well.
It was only starting. We had MySpace, we just...
Yeah, MySpace.
Wow.
I remember MySpace.
Yeah, and even Bebo or whatever.
Yeah.
That's all that we had,
Yeah.
All of a sudden, even when I was on Dancing on Ice, it was only when Twitter came out, and even then I was like, oh, this will never kick off, no one's going to use this.
Yeah.
So I never used it, and I didn't ever use Facebook either, thinking, just being quite old-fashioned about it, really, thinking, it's fine, you don't need to use all that. But actually, it has such a big impact on a lot of people's careers,
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I do a lot of those soccer sticks things, and half of the people who turn up are all famous because of the social networking, and because of the YouTube and all things like that.
Well,
it's scary,
It's a big thing in America, isn't it? Because there's people on there you've never even heard of. They're YouTube stars, and they've got 3 million followers.
Oh yeah.
It's insane.
How do you think that's affected you personally within the industry? Do you think it's given you a bigger platform to promote yourself or a presence out there?
Well, there's light and shade with everything that especially the likes of Twitter and Facebook. It's great because you can put a tweet out there and say, guys, I'm going to be in so and so or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
But it also makes you a target because these people are almost like texting you.
Yeah.
You can get a little bit of abuse every now and again,
Sure.
but it's not a major threat or anything. You just sort of get on with it and have a laugh about it. And there's certain things in place now that you can do so that you don't have to
protect yourself a little bit. Yeah,
well, you can block certain people or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
I like the block button.
Well, that's what I mean. You, as a celebrity or a performer, as we find as well, I think for me it makes you more exposed to the world, whereas before all the social media, you had a bit of insulation and you were only exposed when you were performing.
I mean, there's an argument there to say that what we do for a living, we are in the public eye all the time, so we sort of that's how we've got to live as well, and that's fine. But there is a certain amount of privacy that everybody's entitled to, I believe, anyway. And I suppose social media, is one of those things that people can say, well, I know where he is, and you know what I mean. I post a tweet, you can see where I am, you can see what I'm doing. And there is that exposure there. You can see where anybody is at any one given time. So, as I say, there is an argument there for a bit of privacy or whatever. But to be honest, I love Twitter. I've been addicted to it since it came out, and you know, when you see the fans' reaction, you know, because you can't hear what they're saying in the audience, they're just clapping. Hopefully, then afterwards they tweet you and say, "Do you know what? It was a fantastic show." That's what you enjoy the most of the social networking system. So, and it's given me a lot of insight to my fans and what they like and what they want to see me doing and stuff. They can send requests almost straight to me and say, "Guys, you know, can you sing this song, Ray, or can you do this, Ray?" And it makes me go, actually, that's what the fans want. And, you know, it's easier for me to fulfill that.
Yeah, it's an interesting side of it. You briefly touched on Dancing on Ice. We'll have a little chat about that before we have another song. You won it, obviously. It must have been a fantastic experience for you.
Yeah, it was. I love the physical side of it, where, you know, I was skating every day, and it's so easy to maintain fitness, you know?
Yeah.
Because I love my fitness, but I find it really difficult to sort of maintain it when I'm not doing anything physical constantly.
Yeah, of course.
I hate running in the gym. It's just the most boring thing in the world.
Yeah, it is boring.
So, you know, that side of it was great. And also I made some really great friends, and the whole experience to be able to learn such a skill was incredible, really.
Yeah, and you did it at you know, a top level, really, though, didn't you, in the end? I mean, winning it, and obviously you did the tour with that, did you?
I'd done 3 tours, yeah, and then I went back in last year and to the Champion of Champions, and I won that, which was fantastic. I just really was so competitive about it, just wanting that crown of, like, the best of the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a typical sort of competitive boy who's got brothers in his family, you know?
Yeah. Love that. Right. Ray, we're going to just play another song and then we'll come back and have a bit more of a chat about what you're stranger to the theatre. You've got various West End shows under your belt. Now you're currently starring in the Judy Garland Songbook Tour with Judy Garland's daughter herself. How's that been for you?
Oh, fab. I love the show. The show's really inspired me of late. When you're sitting there watching Judy Garland and you see Lorna on stage appreciating her mother's legacy, and we're all stood there sort of representing that whole thing. It's very inspiring because you see firsthand actually what she was like, what Judy was like, what she did, and how she went about things, and how clever she was in certain ways, getting things sparked up, like listening to songs from somebody humming to her, and the next minute she wants to be a part of it, to be the creative side of things, and then actually coming out on top and being the main performer. And not only that, for me as well, I get to sort of perform with some fantastic artists, and you got Lorna, and we got Louise Beeman, and Georgina Hagan, and Darren Bennett. We've got some fantastic people in our cast.
Yeah, they are, and it is a great show.
Great dancers and everything. So the show itself is a real spectacle, you know. It's like a glorified concert. Every number it comes out, you know, it has that little bit extra, something different, and there's tapping and there's singing, and so it's a fab show.
Yeah,
we're all very proud of it.
We saw it with you last week, of course, and it was brilliant. I particularly like having a drink afterwards, but that's beside the point. So another string to your bow is that your first book is out, first time around, and is getting rave reviews. Tell us about the book and how that came about.
Yeah, I wanted to write a book. I always wanted to do that. And a lot of people sort of say, "Oh, he's only young. Why is he writing a book?" But so much has happened in my short life so far, really, that I want to share. You know, because a lot of people ask me, especially the young ones, you know, because I go to a lot of the colleges in Liverpool and I'm patron for quite a few charities, and a lot of the kids come up to me and say, "I really want to get into the business." You know, what can I expect, and what advice would you give? And my advice every time is very different. And I thought, well, if I write things down, because what I say seems to help, because I've been through certain situations at a very young age, but dealt with it myself, because my mum and dad or anybody in my family don't do what I do. So I learned the hard way, you know, I learned myself.
So, and you started so young as well yourself, didn't you? So
I was 8 years old, and I started dancing and everything else when I was 3. So I've been in the circle quite a while, and I thought, well, if I just write down my experiences maybe it just might help others to sort of either steer away from it or steer towards it and find their own way, you know?
Yeah.
So that's how it started, and then my publishers, Percy Publishing, got involved and putting it together and stuff, and helped me structure it right. And I wrote it very scoused, you know. I kept it very much like you're sitting down with a cup of coffee or a pint of beer, whatever you wish, sitting down and asking me these questions. And it's all written sort of from the day I started dancing right up to today, you know.
Yeah, brilliant. It's good. It's good.
It's nothing of recent. The book goes up to when I sort of finished Dance on Ice and stuff. So it's there's a few more chapters missing, but hopefully on the second rerun I'll write a few more chapters. But yeah, it's been an exciting time, and then we were up for an award, which was amazing.
Yeah. No, we read about
prize.
Yeah. Brilliant.
We got nominated, but unfortunately we didn't win. It was a fix.
Yeah, but that's just your competitive side. You got nominated. That's the main thing.
That's the main thing. Yeah, of course. I got nominated. 1.1, isn't it? It's one of those.
Well, yeah, but it was a total fix.
Absolute fix.
And as if you didn't have enough to do, now you're kind of working on a new album with new sounds and all that kind of thing. Can you tell us anything about the album yet or not?
Yeah, the album basically took me a while to find the sound that I want and the sound that fits with me, and it took me like 10 or 12 months really to sort of get it. And maybe with the team of people around me, and I've got writers that are helping me write. I'm writing as well, so basically the whole album was going to be covers, and then it turned into getting a couple of singles down, and then all of a sudden I was like, right, let's do it. We need to do the whole album original. So we've been writing for the last few months, and we've got some amazing songs together. Great. And it's now just finding the time to get in the studio to record them. But I mean, fingers crossed, I'm hoping to come out with a bit of a bang, just sort of step away for a bit and then come out with something that may shock people, or because I think the music that I'm doing, people not necessarily would find it like alien to them. They go, oh, this is a good song, who's this? Do you get me?
Yeah.
They're not going to be like, oh, why is Ray just singing that? Because it actually fits really well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's like it's got funk in it and a bit of soul, so it's not too far distant from the swing that I used to do.
Nice, yeah.
It's me sort of in 2015. You get me? So it's like moving forward.
Well, you've grown up as well,
the contemporary pop scene, you know.
Well, that's going to evolve as you get older anyway, and as a performer and entertainer, your style will change, and your tastes will change themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
and I've had experiences over the last sort of 10, 12 years or whatever that I can sort of take stories from and put them into a song, and that's what we've done really. It's very exciting for me because all of a sudden I'm in complete control of what I want on the album.
Well, we want a copy first when you get it finished. That's all we're saying. Okay.
Well, that would be my pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you. So just before we finish off, Ray, where can people keep up with you? How can we see what you're doing?
Okay, fab. Well, there's a lady called Amanda, and she runs Ray Quinn Wales, which is my fan site. Okay. I've got my own website, but literally she knows the colour of my eyes. She knows more than me about my mum. Even I know. And that's Ray Quinn Wales, and she has all the updates going off on her Twitter and stuff. So it's a really great website, to check that out. Also, I'm on Twitter, which is @TheRealRayQuinn, and my own website is rayquinn.co.uk. Which at the moment is under construction, trying to get a few more updates on there. But I mean, just keep in touch and look. I'll let you know what's going on. I'm normally on Instagram as well, which is rayquinn_UK.
Brilliant.
So yeah,
great, Ray. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for giving your time, and good luck with the rest of the tour. And stay in touch about the album and everything as well, please.
I will. I'll keep you posted. Thanks for the call.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Brilliant interview. Thank you.